Okay, so we are live. Oh my goodness. Hey, I'm so excited. Yay, another episode of What's Your Take Media. Woo!
Yes.
Okay, so as you can see, we are live. Oh my goodness. Excuse the technical difficulties there. Sorry about that. That was my phone. Look, you gotta be real. These are things that happen. We're live.
It happens. It happens.
Okay. Anyway, I am joined by my co-host tonight, Mr. Sean Blackshear.
I'm back.
Yes, you're back. We missed you from last week, but we
I
had
know,
some,
yeah.
we had some fun guests on. Let's recap. This is something new I'm gonna start doing. So last week we critiqued the movie Tenet, directed by Christopher Nolan and starring John David Washington. Incredible film. So if you get an opportunity out there, those of you that are joining us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, please go and check that out. I had some guest co-hosts, my good god sis and good friend Ariana Shears, and someone
Wait.
else
Hold
is
on.
kind of becoming what?
You got to pause on Ariana because I watched the
Oh,
show and
oh,
the whole time the show she was just a dancing the whole show.
seriously.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching it.
She was
She was having a
dancing.
good time. She was dancing the whole time.
Yes. Yes, that Ariana, she just has so much joy. I just love it. It's just so what are you gonna say? I didn't want to say addictive, but it's another word I was looking for. But she's definitely got that joy. She's
Yeah.
got it. So anywho, so those of you that are joining us, as you can see, we're sorry, before I move ahead. The other guest co-host was Zachary Scott Clark. It was great having him on as well, especially from his perspective, because he has been an actor, a director, a writer, currently working on a film. You'll get to know all about that if you do what? Watch the Tenet critique that we did last week. All right.
That's right.
That's right. You can find it on Facebook Live on this page, and you can also find it on our YouTube Live. Boom, boom, bam.
That's right.
Do that.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Smoke. It would be a smoking gun right here, but yeah. So anyway. Tonight, if you haven't figured it out yet, we are going to critique the movies, the Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2. Okay, these are Netflix originals. Netflix has been putting out some great things, some great.
Oh my God!
Products.
Yes, they have definitely taken the bulls by the horn with the at-home entertainment right now. The only bad thing about this movie is they put it right by Jingle Jangle, so you almost miss it because you click on Jingle Jangle. But it was good. It was really good.
Yeah. Well, you know what? What really actually, first of all, what really let the audience know what really got me stirred up into watching these movies at all was, first of all, my co-host Sean. He was like, yeah, Christmas Chronicles. Because I was thinking about doing something else. He was like, nah, let's do Christmas Chronicles. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I kept hearing about Christmas Chronicles 2 via Tyrese Gibson. Okay. I follow him on Instagram, and he was, shouting out the movie and was like thanking, the viewers for, watching it and making it rise up the list. Cause I think it's currently number 3 on Netflix most watched top 10 list. It was number 1 at some time though. So, and I was like, oh, okay. So my little antennas was like, oh. And then when you said what you said, I was like, oh. So I was like, okay, let me watch it. And I would have to say I was pleasantly surprised.
If Baby Boy says watch it, you go watch it.
Oh, that's all you need. Look, that's all the endorsement you need.
That's right. That's right. That's
yes.
Right.
So,
awesome.
Yes.
So
this,
go ahead.
No, go for it.
This had one of my favorite actors. I have loved Kurt Russell for many a moon. So way back to Tango and Cash. You remember that movie?
Oh, now know I was going to bring up Tango and Cash.
You got to bring up Tango and Cash. So I have been a fan of his, and I lost track of him for a couple years, and then he came back as Ego in the Guardians of the Galaxy. I was like, yes. He did. Yeah. He did. It was awesome. Yeah. He's a really good actor.
Okay. So we're going right on in. Okay, I got you. So Kurt Russell. Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
just went on here, so I was like, okay, let's talk about Kurt then. Let's talk about Kurt.
Let's talk about Kurt. Let's talk about Kurt.
Okay, so Tango and Cash, that is an 80s movie. It came out in 89, co-starring Sylvester Stallone. I have to say he was quite handsome in that film with his glasses.
Don't start. Don't start.
Well, hey, I'm the woman. I got to talk about. And then, and a young, oh my gosh, Terry Hatcher. Yes.
Yep.
I'm a fan of hers. I watched her back when she was in the 90s acting. I think she did some few things in the 80s. And then she made a transition. She did this show that I used to love called Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman.
Oh my God. That was my life.
King.
Oh,
she
yeah.
was Lois Lane.
Yes, she was.
Yes.
Yep.
And of course, she's probably most known now for Desperate Housewives.
Right.
Yes. So yeah, I absolutely love Tango and Cash. It's one of my favorite go-to movies. But if you're gonna talk about Kurt Russell, you can't not talk about Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, right. The girl with 2 green eyes.
Yes, the 2 green eyes. I freaking love it. See, Kurt was in those movies like that and Escape from LA. It was like they were so retro. He had this big gun, like he's a superhero, but he's not.
Yep. And you can still watch them today. They're still they stand up the test of time.
They do.
Yeah. And I still think Big Trouble in Little China is where Mortal Kombat came from.
Okay.
You hold on. Okay. You play Mortal Kombat, right?
What? Oh, the game, the video
game?
I'm not gonna sit here in front like that. I wasn't a gamer. Like this was my extent of game playing back in the day. Because we just gonna talk about our age. That's where we are. That's who we are. But right. Back when Nintendo was out, that was my era. I was a kid. I was even alive for Atari when the Atari came out. I don't want to go back too far. But with Nintendo, I was a huge Super Mario Brothers fan. Like I had Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. I freaking loved them. So like when the Wii came out, I just was like, oh yeah, I'm getting this Nintendo Wii just so I can play that. And Bowl, of course, in Bowl.
You done went way back to Atari.
Hey, I used to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on there.
That's right. I love it. I love it.
Gotta love the 80s and 70s babies. You see how
you got to. You got to. Mm-hmm. And you really should. Yes. We're taking over right now.
Okay. But back to Kurt Russell. Yes. So yes, I have been a fan of his since the 80s. So we know that he's in the Christmas Chronicles, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then his longtime real life partner, Goldie Hawn. She comes in at the end of the first movie, but then she's more in the second film.
Yeah, she's all in the second one.
We're gonna take a very long pause right here. I'm just gonna let the audience know I'm a huge fan of Goldie Hawn. Now I know a lot of you, especially if you watch the show a lot, you're probably like, you know what, Sarah, you say that about everybody. This is true. I know I have said this. But I'm telling you that Goldie, see, there's a list, you see, and she's high up on the list for me. Now, my mom, I grew up watching movies like crazy, like to the point back in the day when you used to have the VHS tapes. Like my household, we would tape movies. Like we would rent a movie and then we would tape it. You would record movies so you could have it.
Oh,
that wasn't illegal.
You're supposed to admit that out loud.
Oops. Okay. So anyway, stop there now. So we straight had a video book where my mom would write. She would number the tapes, and then she would write on the tapes what was on it. And then we could have only probably up to 3 movies because it was like a 6-hour tape or something like that.
Right.
And so if somebody wanted to borrow a movie, they would have to sign it out. Like come in, okay, write your name when you checked it out, and you have to have it back at this day. It was serious. It was serious in my house. So now you see like I suck it. I mean, it was
y'all had the original idea for Netflix.
Look, it was us. Dang it, because they some money. Missed that shit.
Look at that.
Yeah. Right. But with saying that, so I grew up watching Goldie Hawn movies. I mean, Wildcats. Wildcats. You know, Wesley Snipes was in there, young. They
Yeah,
was playing football. She was a coach. Oh, it was great. Who
it
else
was
showed up
good.
in there? What's his name from White Man Can't Jump and Cheers? He was in there
Woody
too.
Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. He was in there. Matter of
Uh,
fact, I haven't seen that in years. She was in Protocol, Private Benjamin. That's one of my favorites. She was in the
yep.
military. Yes. So needless to say, I do love some Goldie Hawn. She's hilarious. Remember this old movie she was in with Chevy Chase? Well, actually, she did too, but Foul Play and Seems Like Old Times.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I can
good.
watch Seems
Yep.
Like Old Times like right now, like 50 times. It's like that. And
So
to
I
just
got
yes, go ahead.
no, I got go ahead, finish.
Oh, but to put the icing on the cake, then she had a daughter and a son that act. But everybody knows Kate Hudson.
Right.
Because I
Look
mean,
just like
and
her.
it's crazy watching her on the screen. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Goldie
Yeah.
Hawn.
Yep. I didn't know
And
she had a
Oliver
son.
Hudson. Yes, Oliver Hudson. Yes,
Yeah, look at
who's in
there.
the movies. Christmas Chronicles.
He was?
Yes, he's the dad that ends up dying.
Oh, the dog. They could have gave him a bigger part. Come on.
Hey, look, the fact I feel like, it was a family project. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a trivia for you.
Yes.
All right. In Christmas Chronicles 2, the guy that played Belsnickel, Julian Deninchin, he's the bad guy in Christmas Chronicles 2. Right? What great Christmas movie was he the villain in?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Woo.
You
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Deadpool 2.
Oh.
He was the bad guy in
We're
Deadpool
gonna keep
2.
doing it. You know what though? I got lots of time right now. I'm gonna watch this Deadpool too.
He was in Deadpool 2. He was.
Oh my goodness. All right.
When I was
Touché.
as I was watching, I'm like, hey, that's him.
Touche. There's a running joke going right now with me and my co-host. If you all don't know, I have seen so many movies, but there's just some movies that I just simply haven't seen. And so Sean, he likes to, mess with me because I haven't seen Deadpool 2, but I've seen the first one, but I haven't seen the second one yet. And he's going to keep doing it until I see it. So
until you see
that. There's that. Okay. All right. Okay. So, all right. So we talked about Kurt. We talked about Goldie. And okay. Oh my gosh. Do you want to talk about the director for the first movie? Because I got to talk about the director for the second movie. Oh my gosh.
No,
you'll know why real soon. Okay.
I don't remember who was the director for the first one.
Clay Catus.
I don't know.
I say his name. Well, hey, in your defense, Clay is actually a newer director. Like he's only done as far as directing. He did this film, Christmas Chronicles 1, and then he directed the Angry Birds movie. But one thing about Clay, he has actually been a part of the animation department for, remember 1995 Disney Pocahontas?
Oh, yeah.
Hercules in 97. I'm still in Disney. Mulan 98. One of my all-time favorite movies. The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh yeah.
Tangled and Frozen. So
wow.
He's just kind of jumped onto the director's boat ship, but he has been working in animation. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Well, yeah. His name's attached to Frozen. I mean, he can do anything.
Hey, I'm saying, you know how big that movie was. It still is.
Right. It still is, yeah.
So, the director for the second film, Chris Columbus. So, okay. Let's remind the audience again, I am an 80s baby, so that means I'm an early millennial. So I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. So
that's right.
These next few statements are going to be reminiscent of all of what I just said. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So Christopher Columbus, I was so excited when I read about him. So he directed Christmas Chronicles 2. Let's be clear. That's why we're talking about him right now, because that's what we're talking about right now is Christmas Chronicles.
That's right.
So he has directed, I'm just going to list them. That's all. I'm just going to list them. Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh.
Home Alone 1 and 2.
Both of them.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Not the Doubtfire.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Wow.
Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. Oh, and he was the screenwriter for Gremlins 1 and 2. He actually sold his screenplay to Steven Spielberg. And The Goonies. So that screenplay to Steven Spielberg. I said, are you freaking kidding me?
Wow.
These are all movies that I love.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, isn't that great? Isn't
incredible? That's he was in Percy and the Harry Potter. That's crazy.
Oh, hey, I'm just saying, Adventures of Babysitting. I've got the babysitting blue, baby. Come on. Come on, Elizabeth Shue. That is a classic for me. That
really is.
It's got some of everything in it, Shondo. It's got action, it's got drama, and it's hilarious. I love oh my goodness. Chris Columbus, look, he's reminiscent of his namesake. He is a creator.
He is.
Yes.
I mean, to go from Gremlins to Harry Potter, what the heck?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. Okay, so is there anything else you want to talk about as far as producing or director or anything? Because we can go on and just lay it out. Talk about
into the movie. So part one, it had everything. It had a Christmas Miracle. It had Grand Theft Auto. It had kidnapping. It had a jazz solo in jail. And it had reindeer. I mean, what else could you want from a Christmas movie? I was enjoying myself from the beginning to the end. I'm like, wow, it's a Christmas movie with action. I love it. Sprinkle a little comedy, but it was good. I loved it. Absolutely.
Okay. So you said it had everything a Christmas movie should have. So the Grand Theft Auto part, that kind of, but when you said that, it made me think of Die Hard. Many people don't say that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, but I believe it is.
That's right.
I'm on that list.
It's got to be.
Grand Theft Auto could work.
Who doesn't want to see Santa Claus still in the Corvette? I mean, come on. Come on.
Oh, that was pretty awesome. That was. It was. It really was.
It was wonderful.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So our movie starts with apparently Goldie Hawn's son and his family. Oh
my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. We got to pause for 1 second before we jump too far.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, Goldie Hawn's son. Okay, so Goldie Hawn was married before. I believe she was married before. And then from that marriage, she got Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson. And so I got to give people this timeline because I just love this couple in Hollywood. Like, they're not married, but they've been together. They actually have starred in their very first movie that they met was this movie called The One and Only Genuine Original Family Band. Say that real fast. The one and only genuine originally family band. Yes. It came out in 1968. Right. It came out in 1968. So this was the very first time that they met each other, right? And then they did another film together called Swing Shift, which came out in 84. And that's actually from that moment, that's when they started dating or whatnot. And they're still together to this day. And so one of my all-time favorite movies that they've done together is actually called Overboard in 87. Mm-hmm. Overboard is such a classic. I know they rebooted it here recently, but I just couldn't do it. There's just some films that just leave it alone. Don't touch it. That's one of those movies
There's money and then there are hills.
I was like, really overboard, guys, really.
Oh yeah, there's so much
Yes,
money in nostalgia.
yes, yes. So so between the two of them, they've had such great careers, and with them, being the age that they are now, not to get into what that is, but with them being that age, it's just awesome that now they're in this place where, because they're grandparents now and everything.
Right.
But I know that around the time that Kurt Russell and her started dating, he pretty much became a father to Oliver and Kate or whatnot. I've seen interviews where Kate's even talked about it, like he's, her dad. So I just think it's amazing that they, survived Hollywood this long, and to see him on the screen, especially Kurt, burning out those tunes, that we're going to see in the film. Yeah, he's good for singing though. He will sing.
He would. He seemed like he enjoyed those parts of the movie. That was awesome. That was awesome. So
now to go back to where you were.
No, you're good. You started off the movie that and it's taking us through the dad chronicling the Christmases for the for his family, and then after all the videos end, and then you come in the family, and unfortunately father's passed away in a fire accident. He's a fireman. So
Yeah, he was a fireman.
That's right. So we got that, and then
essential worker.
That's right. So his daughter, little rapscallion she is.
Rapscallion? Define. What is that word?
So she has the camcording genes, so she wants to camcord some stuff, and the older brother, he's the heck with the camcorder. He's just gonna go steal cars. I mean, why not?
But which it just goes to show you, and that's what happens. People deal with grief in different ways. So that was his way to deal with the grief, was to rebel.
That's right. And rebel he did.
Right, get in trouble, which really was attention seeking, is really what it was.
Okay, look at you, been listening to Minister Christie. Go ahead.
Hey, look here. My God sis, she's a counselor. Christy Nelson. She'll help get you right.
That's right. But
yeah.
So we go, and the sister has this grand plot to capture Santa Claus on tape, because she has watched the old Chronicle tapes and saw his finger in one of the tapes. And she's like, I'm gonna get him. And so they set up and fall asleep. And this is the funniest piece. Did you see their snacks for their watch night?
Oh my gosh. How could you miss those snacks? It was ridiculous.
2 buckets of ice cream.
Every parent's worst nightmare. And the mom distinctively said before she left him alone, do not eat junk food.
That's right.
And I mean, they went in.
They did. Goodness. They really did. Two buckets of ice cream. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Blame it on Christmas. This time. Oh my goodness.
That's funny. Look like my dear wife has defined rapscallion for you.
Oh, thank you. In the audience, in the commentary.
Thank you, dear. So you move on, and then you get to the so they miss Santa because they sleep from sugar coma, but they catch him enough to jump in his sled. Didn't even think about it. just go and get the sled. Get the sled. Why not? I mean, it was good. The brother didn't steal it, but I mean, it was good. Just jump in the sled.
That's what I love about the youth. You gotta applaud them. See, that's sometimes we have to go back there when it comes to risk taking, because they don't care. They just go right on in.
Just do it.
Just like she was so sure. She was like, I'm gonna catch Santa on tape. Like there was no doubt in her mind. She was like, yeah, it's gonna happen. And her brother, it took him a little convincing, like, oh, okay, yeah, he was,
It was just a reason to eat ice cream for him.
Right. Oh yeah, and then that tape that she had,
Right.
she was using against him.
Oh yeah,
Caught him stealing the
she done
car.
caught the brother on tape stealing the car. Ooh, look at that! Look at that!
Rebellious, just rebellious.
And so now they're in the sled. Santa don't know they're there, so he take off going to mind his own business. You know, he's traveling through the world, and you know, he starts to lose all his stuff after he finds out they're there. And we're off to the races. And
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I have to say, okay, one thing that I loved about both of these films, with me being a believer in Christ, and you know, with that being my background, there were a lot of prophetic things in this film. Okay, I want you to ride along with me, Sean. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I smell what you're cooking.
I know. Okay, so one thing I just want to put out there to the audience, one thing I want to put out there is, okay, initially, Christmas is supposed to be a day where we recognize the birth of Christ, okay? And so there was gift giving during the birth of Christ. And I guess from there we got into, gift giving, which is great. That's cool. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with gift giving. I love it. We should be givers, right? But somewhere down the line, it got a little distracted, and then it came into, here we go with Santa Claus. Okay, so now Santa Claus is kind of at the forefront or whatnot. But I found it, and hey, I'm a person, I love movies, I love Christmas. This is one of my favorite times of the year. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't, because I do. But watching this film, I felt like there were so many parallels in regards to Santa and just Christ, a period in general. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I see what y'all doing. So one thing I want to touch on, with that being said, is, okay, so when they got in the sled, I want to back it up when you're talking about they took the sled and they got in the sled, and then Santa came back, and then they had to hide. Okay.
That's right.
And then he discovered that they were back there, and it was like, okay, yeah, okay. We're all seeing each other. And so the girl, the mischievous person, she, what did you call her?
Rapscallion.
The rapscallion. She ended up falling out of the sled. And so then they was like, oh, we got to catch her. And so we see this scene, and we're talking about Christmas Chronicles, the first movie, right here. So we see this scene where all of a sudden, once they catch her, the sled goes through this, it looks like a realm to me. Okay. It's like a realm of light, where I was like, oh, wait, that's the Eiffel Tower, but wait, they in Chicago. What's going on? So to me, that felt like a realm. Like, you know, to me, our creator, he created time for us. So he doesn't function in time. It's called eternity, right? And so it looked like an eternal experience was going on, because how can you explain them in 2.5 seconds going from Chicago and then ending up, where did they end up at?
Milwaukee or Michigan? No, they started in Milwaukee and ended up in Chicago.
But along the way, they flew through Paris. I was like, what? That was so I'm just saying, I just freaking loved it, because really, when you think about it, now let's get to the nitty gritty. You know, you a kid, and you be like, oh, let me tell you, oh, Santa's gonna bring you Christmas gifts. How the heck does one man in one night go to every household in the complete earth and give them Christmas gifts and knows exactly what to give them? That ain't God, the eternal God, being able to hear each one of our prayers. Do you see what I'm saying? And simultaneously and meet us at once. So I was like, okay, I see what y'all doing with this. But what's crazy is they're making it they're putting it in a fun way, where we're like, okay, yes, this is great, it's entertaining and all of that, but really, this is something that can really happen through God. So I had to touch on that timepiece, because I thought that was fantastic.
I get you in time from your take on the Tenet last week. So
I done got stirred up talking about that Tenet movie with Christopher Nolan.
I absolutely love it. So so now we're on the ground. So now it's become a adventure, because they my wife said it should have been Vegas, but he lost his hat, he lost his toy, the toy sack, and the reindeer didn't got away. So now we got an adventure. Now the game's afoot. to go and collect all these items. And I swear, in between collecting all these items, everything that could happen did happen. And from Santa getting arrested, to the little girl going in the bag.
Oh, right. Look, an eternal bag. Look how you go. It was like a, in the sense of the movie, it's like a magical thing that happened, but oh my gosh, it was crazy. Yeah. She just entered into the bag, and it was like a whole nother world where the elves were.
It was. Well,
I have to say,
it was awesome.
Those little elves were so cute until that one scene, but I'm not gonna get there quite yet. But I was like, those little elves were so cute, and I loved their little language that they had, and they would talk with Santa. It was so cute. It kind of reminded me. It reminded me of this. I actually brought this movie up earlier. Oh my gosh, I just tripped off that. From the first director, The Emperor's New Groove. And so one of the films that he did animation for was actually The Emperor's New Groove. The director of the first film, Clay. And it's so funny, I'm thinking about this, but that little language reminded me of the squirrel language from The Emperor's New Groove. And they were like, squeak, squeaker, squeak, 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 squeaker. Oh, language. Oh, it was so cute. Oh, I just loved it.
I love it. I love it.
I know one thing that's very, very foreshadowed in this film is believing and not believing. That is huge in the forefront. Oh my gosh.
Yep. Because they're called true believers.
True believers. See?
Yep.
See? Oh, that's what I'm saying. True believers.
Yep, that was a big part. Was talking about the true believers in the movie. So yeah, but it was awesome. So when they got to the point where Santa got arrested, those two black cops had me rolling the whole movie, because you got one cop trying to apprehend Santa, and Santa's telling him to call his ex-wife. Then you got the other cop is chasing down reindeers, and he's seeing the reindeers take flight and can't get nobody else to look at the time that they're actually taking flight. I was, oh my God, that whole scene was just hilarious to me, and how it carried over to the musical solo.
Yes. Okay, you're taking me too fast. Hold on. Okay, so with you saying that right there is just kind of, it's a I don't know what it is about me in this word tonight, but reminiscent. It's very reminiscent of what I was saying earlier about believers and non-believers.
Yeah.
The guy that saw the reindeer, I feel like he saw them because he was more of a believer than the other guy. Like he had got to this point where he just couldn't believe no more, which we would see later, because when Santa starts pulling out all those gifts that he wanted, so I guess he never got those gifts. So it was slowly over time, the hope just left. It just left. But the other guy, even though when Santa first, when they went to that bar, and then when he met them, and he was telling them, I am Santa Claus. They're like, man, please. That's just like back. This is like back in the scriptures when Christ was like, I am the Christ. And they were like, and really, he didn't really have to say it like that. It was just really how he was and his character and everything, what he did. But it was right here. And they just couldn't see it. They weren't. Yes, so it's a lot of that going on in the film, where it's like, okay, like you said, there's this thing they talk about, you're a true believer and somebody that's not quite there. I was like, oh gosh. And the guy that saw the reindeer, I got to talk about him for just a second. There's a show I used to watch. It's no longer airing, but it's called New Girl with Zoe Deschanel. And he was on there as the token black guy.
Very prominent role.
But I loved him on that show. That show was fantastic. Oh my goodness. So now you said we're at the point where he's been locked up.
So Santa's locked up, and he needs a little bit of Christmas spirit in jail. And so he just starts delivering gifts, and just so happened the people locked up with him are a band. So
instruments and costumes.
Who knew, right? So they get to jamming, And I'm telling you, Kurt Russell is I mean, showing a whole new side of himself that I've never seen him do before, with the musical arts. Yeah, I enjoyed that scene.
Yes,
I really
me too.
enjoyed that scene.
They had the women in the other cell, they're like background singers. It was fantastic. It was like a
it was really good. Really really good. So in the meantime, so when he's in jail, singing, doing his thing, brother and sister have now gone and they found the toy bag. And sister then crawled inside the bag. So she's in the bag, brother's outside, and a gang comes and robs the brother for a big. I mean,
right.
I just don't. I'm like, okay.
Like you said, everything that could happen happened.
It did happen. So a gang comes and robs them, and of course he's trying to protect the bag because the sister's in the bag, and they're trying to go through the bag to see what they can steal, and everything they come out with is a lump of coal. I think they've been naughty. That's right.
Hey, see right there. Oh my gosh. See, you making me think. There's something else that I saw in this movie. I feel like people these days, they put so much on being good versus bad because of Santa Claus. Like that song, you better, if you're naughty or nice, so basically you're not going to get anything. In which case, when we pray or whatnot and we talk to God on these things, we're supposed to have repent. You know what I'm saying? So we do something wrong, we're supposed to look to the scriptures and be like, oh, okay. But we put so much on Santa Claus in that sense. And I was like, man, this is very interesting. I'm telling you, this movie is very parallel. Very parallel. I'm going to keep saying it. But yes, I thought that was hilarious that they got that lump of coal. Part of it to me was some of it, the non-believer part, just a tad bit. And then, of course, the bigger part issue was, look what y'all doing. Like they had so many stolen goods in that warehouse. It was crazy.
They did. Yeah, they need nothing else. But this was probably one of the funniest moments to me. Right when they were about to burn the bag, the elves got out.
Yeah.
And did you see the part the little gang, all the other gang members got away, but one gang member fell and the one elf pulled out the chainsaw?
Yeah. Oh, that was actually her brother. That was her brother.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, because the sister, she pops out like, no, wait.
Yeah. Stupid details.
Right. Look, that little elf was ready to have some fun. He was like, man,
he really was. He was gonna go to town. So we go from there, and now the movie's coming on down. It's coming on down. We done collected all the items, and everybody learned a lesson.
Which is traditional for Christmas movies.
There has to be a miracle. There has to be a Christmas miracle somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
And now the whole movie, Santa's offended because his image is overweight, saying ho ho ho.
That is so hilarious.
The movie ends with her saying, Santa, do it for me one time, please, please, and he leaves saying ho ho ho. It's like, oh.
See, Sean, here we go. See, that's another example. Because it's like all this time we have these myths and legends of these things, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to be frank and plain. We're talking about Santa right now, okay? So, and it's just like with the Lord. It's like we have these myths and legends of what we think God is or who we think he is, but it's not until we get to know him on a personal level that we're able to really receive and see who he really is. And that was the same thing with Santa. They was like, oh, you thought he was a big fat, guy. Now he did have the beard. He had the white beard,
right?
But some of that stuff, like people just created those things. It really wasn't who he was.
That's right. So it was so part one was fantastic. I highly recommend you watch part one because it will set the table for part two.
Oh yes, and a fine table that was.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at
So
the comments here. So your
yeah.
wife said they ruined Christmas with question marks. Yes, Christmas was ruined temporarily because they
That's
lost the
right.
toy bag, and so they had to recover, and
You
they had
sang
to
a
recover
song.
Santa because Santa was in jail. Look, somebody had to believe to get Santa out. That one cop that wasn't a believer, he had to make him into a believer so he could release him.
That's right. Just call your ex-wife. Just call your ex-wife. That's all
Right,
you have to
just
do.
call her. Just call her.
Just call
Oh my goodness.
her. So
Okay.
we go to part two now.
All right.
Now they're not so part one set in a cold Milwaukee. Part two, they are in the Bahamas, and Mama then got her groove back. So
Oh yes.
Mama got the groove back. Yeah, so she is now on a hot date. Sound like about to be a proposal with none other than baby boy himself, Tyrese.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, so yeah,
Sweet
yeah,
lady, will
yeah.
you be mine?
That's right. Wait, he sung too?
Oh my goodness, are you kidding? Please tell me that's a joke.
No.
Now that's worse than Deadpool 2.
You take that back.
No, that takes the cake there, sir. Okay, we're gonna come back and talk about the Tyrese Gibson singing thing at a later date. We just simply don't have enough time on this show to do that. Not tonight. I just know. Yes. So yes, that was him in that infamous Coke commercial when he first came onto the scene. He was singing.
Uh,
Yeah, there you go.
that's
Yep.
right. That's right.
Okay.
Uh,
So
oh,
yes,
was it?
yes, that was him.
Oh, I'm
So on
trying
the
to.
beach,
All right.
they were in
Yeah.
Bahamas or Jamaica or somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. So they're somewhere nice, hot and sandy, and the little girl, she just ain't having it. You can't marry my mama, because that's gonna make the memory of daddy go away. So she didn't set up a nefarious plan
There we go.
to kidnap herself.
Nefarious.
She go.
That's the word of the night.
That's right. She planned out a whole plot to catch a flight and just leave and go somewhere on her own. But little does she know, there's a naughty little elfin, Elron. I don't know. That he was an elf, became a man. That's there, and he has kidnapped her and the would-be stepbrother to the North Pole.
Yes.
And the hard part about this part was he just sent them to the North Pole. He didn't even send them to Santa's place. He put them in the North Pole. So
oh my gosh.
they're in the North Pole with shorts, short sleeve shirts, and just so happened that Santa was chasing a Yule cat. I still don't know what that is, but he was chasing a Yule cat. And saw them in the snow. But thank God Santa was there, because it would have been a bad movie.
Yes. So yet again, we are introduced to time in eternity. Because obviously the North Pole is in some eternal place that only few people can get to, or even know where it is. Because when he like push a button or something, like he had a remote. There we go. And I was like, oh, okay. And then they just flew in there. I was like, oh, okay, interesting.
Right. So the story progresses, and we find out that the young kidnapper that threw them in the North Pole was actually once an elf, but he was a very naughty elf that broke all five rules of elfdom.
Yes.
I don't remember what they were, but I remember it spelled out elf.
I was gonna say, do you know what they were?
Nah, no. See again. There you go with those details again.
Okay, so with you saying that, here we go again with another parallel. Hey, so the naughty elf was once good. Okay,
that's right.
And he was very close to Santa. Matter of fact, he was almost like an apprentice to Santa. Like,
that's
he
right,
was great at what he did, like making toys. He was just one of the experts. And so it came a point in time where Santa couldn't show him the attention that he wanted. And so he rebelled. Okay. And so what happened when he rebelled? Well, he ended up turning into his most hated thing, which at that time, well, actually was the whole movie really. He just hated humans with a passion. And he ended up being turned into a human, right? And so, it made me think of, that Lucifer, when he was in heaven and he got kicked out because of his disobedience and his rebellion. So that's what that made. Cast out. look, into the earth with the human beings.
That's right. That's right.
From eternity, from his eternal seat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and he was good. He was trying to. Now this is where we're going to get a little jingle jangle in here.
Yes, come on with the jingle.
You remember with the jingle and jangle, I'm back. You remember with the jingle jangle, the bad guy in there was upset, because he wouldn't get the attention, and he was trying to make something and thought that Santa forgot about him, right? Well, same thing here. The exact same premise. He thought that that Santa. I already know you're finna put a spiritual on this. He thought that Santa loved the kids more than he loved the elves. So. Santa wasn't paying attention to him to help him make his whatever this toy was. It was that was the premise of him becoming, bad guy and becoming human as a punishment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that did. You brought up Jingle Jangle. That's so funny. I was thinking of Jingle Jangle as well when Goldie Hawn was reading the Christmas story, like the Christmas Chronicles story in the film, where she was basically giving the backstory on Santa and how he was originally a bishop. I was like, really interesting. And he just liked to give gifts. And from there, he was awarded, I'm going to use the word mantle, a mantle, if you will, of power that put him in a certain position to where he could elevate in that gift giving. I mean, that's pretty much what happened. That's what they, and so with that, he was giving tools at his disposal to do that. They're calling it magic in the film, but I mean, how else to be able to go through eternally realms like that come on now. So it was that was gifted towards him because of his heart. His heart was, he was a giver. That was his heart.
That's right.
I just freaking loved it. Yeah.
You went deep. You went deep in the I'm still on the surface. You bringing me under. My wife said the whole movie would have ended. Just sound like the elves needed counseling.
Yes, I just read that in the comments. That's hilarious. It did. Look, they did. They needed counseling. They did.
They really did. You got one elf running around with a chainsaw, and
right, y'all just go let him do this, right? That's
right. And then you remember the one elf. I was like, oh man, he's on his way to diabetes. He just kept eating all the candy. You remember he just kept eating all the candy as they was making it. He was like, one for you, 8 for me.
I know. Fantastic. So much creativity going on in this film. So much.
It was. So go ahead.
I forgot why I was bringing up the Jingle Jangle. Maybe I did say it about the stories, but it was reminiscent, of course, with the singing number 2. That really,
it was
surprising.
Now it wasn't Jingle.
Surprised. Yeah. Oh yes, and so for you guys out there, we actually did critique Jingle Jangle, so you can go to our YouTube page. And on here, if you look in our video section on Facebook Live, on our Facebook page, you will find that Jingle Jangle critique. All right, carry on. Mike.
That's right. So you go, and so the bad elves, he's in North Pole. He didn't stole some of the magic, and he stole the light off the Christmas tree, the star off the Christmas tree, and so they're chasing him. to get it back, and he put some kind of time machine thing on the sled, so they end up back in time.
See, the time. What is going on?
You know, you in time. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So we go, and now we're in the airport. You know, they go back in time. They end up at the airport. And funny thing about the airport, little girl's dad that passed away is there, but he's a young boy, and she didn't know it. So that was a pretty cool scene, and I know it brings a tear to me. So it was quite
Christmas miracle.
Yeah. And while that miracle was happening, Kurt Russell was singing again.
Oh yes, and dancing. See,
dancing.
he wasn't in jail this time, so it was a lot more room in the airport for him to go ahead and do some dancing and flips. You know,
bust
nice
moves.
Yeah, bust. Hey, if you got it.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Hey, okay. Hey, bust move. No, but
now you found a fun tip.
What?
You about the young lady that was singing with him.
Yes, I was.
Yes,
this why you my co-host. I was just finna talk about that.
There goes.
So I loved the woman that was singing with Kurt Russell in the second movie at the airport. Her name is actually Darlene Love. Okay, now mind you, I didn't know this lady could sing like this. I was like, oh my gosh. So you may know Miss Darlene Love from the Lethal Weapon series. Okay, she was actually Danny Glover's wife in all the movies. I was like, oh my snap! Hey, that's okay. Hey, look, I'm convinced these actors and actresses, they be having these hidden talents. I mean,
right.
Like we saw that. Look, key example, Hugh Jackman. Like you can sing. You're Wolverine. Like what?
Right.
Wait, what's going on?
Wolverine doesn't do Broadway. What is this?
Right. What is this? Oh my goodness.
Right.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So after the big musical number, they are now going back, and this is where it gets a little Home Alone-ish, where Santa versus the Santa versus the elf, and you got to watch it for yourself. It was some good hilarious scenes in there with the little boy that they got transferred there. He ended up with a Nerf gun, and it was a good time.
Oh, hey man, that Nerf gun. Now that's really the 80s right there.
That's right. 80s. Yesterday in my basement. What are you talking
about? Hey, well, when it was introduced.
Yeah, you're right.
Look, I'm like, I need to Google that. Look. But I remember growing up with Nerf guns. Yes.
That's right.
Crazy.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a fantastic, fantastic movie. Ended with Santa bringing them back to the beach, and Big Brother seeing Santa dropping them off, so he mad. He's like, "Oh, for real? I mean, come on."
Right. I know, right? He missed the whole caper this time.
He missed the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't about you this time, bro. It wasn't about you this time.
That's right. Oh, no,
you know what? Really, if you think about it, the brother seemed like he was going to be okay with the blending of the families, but it was it's funny. See how they switched that from the first one to the second one? But the brother, he had a problem in the first movie, and then the sister, she was, but then in this one, the sister had more of a problem. So she was the one that really needed that help. She needed more of that belief, more of that hope. So she needed that adventure. I'll just say she needed that adventure.
She had to have it. Yeah, had to have it. Yep. So the movies, I enjoyed them both. What GTS score would you gonna go with there, Sarah?
Yes. I actually forgot about doing that last week on Tenet. I told Sean later. I'm telling the audience now. I'm admitted it. So I definitely would give last week's movie a 10. I'm just going to say it because it was Christopher Nolan. That's enough. And and John David Washington was in there. And there was action. And it was about time. Okay, that's enough. All right. So these
and
two
Michael Caine.
Oh, yes. Oh, who doesn't love Michael Caine? Oh, my gosh. So for Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2, See, it comes to this point where, and many of us have been in this place when they make sequels and trilogies, and we get to this point where we're like, okay, so which was the better of the two or the three, right?
Mm.
So I think together, seamlessly, they made one good project because the first movie, I loved um, the innocence of it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the action.
Mm-hmm.
There's, because the first movie focused a lot more on today. Okay, today, what's going on in actual real life, as far
Mm-hmm.
as like, people were in the city of Chicago, that kind of thing, if this is making sense. And so the second
Mm-hmm.
film, it was more so focused on eternal things, as far as we're time traveling now. We're at the North Pole where time stands still. So it
That's
was
right.
kind of like two different things going on. So together, I think they made one great film. I know it's two separate
Mm-hmm.
films, but I think I liked things from both of them. So I
Mm-hmm.
would give them both a 10. I think they're both got to see it, especially if you are a person that has children, you're a family person, or
Mm-hmm.
even if you are a person like me that loves the 80s, like Home Alone, Adventures in Babysitting. I definitely felt like that feeling. I felt that feeling in watching both of the films or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
especially the
Most
second one.
definitely.
Yeah, but I
Mm-hmm.
definitely got that feeling, and I enjoyed them both very, very thoroughly. So I would give
Yeah,
them both.
I would agree. The first one I would 100% give a 10 because it would go, across all genres. You can be, it wasn't all 100% geared toward the cartooniness for kids, but it had kids, but it also had where adults could sit and, you know, enjoy it as well. But the second one you can tell was geared more toward the, toward younger audiences, with a lot of the special effects they use and things like that.
Oh yeah,
So the
oh yeah.
yeah, first one 10. The second one, I would still give the second one like an 8 though. It's still, they both were still really good, solid films. So it was a
Okay.
fantastic 4 hours.
Yes, so it was
Good time.
fantastic.
Yes,
Yes. All right.
fantastically
So,
phenomenal.
all right. Well, we're gonna get ready to sum it up and get on out of here, guys. Um, Once again, putting our information out there. If you are watching us on YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and follow us on the opposite one if you can. And we actually are on Instagram as well under the same name. So we're What's Your Take Media across the board, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook or whatnot. Next week, we are actually going to be doing something really fun. So we are in the St. Louis area, and we actually know of a production team. They're actually from St. Louis, and they're actually a Christian background, and they made a movie. It's called A New Husband for Christmas. And so we actually have a privilege of having one of the actors from that film on the show as well as the assistant director. So we're very, very excited about that. It'll be next week, Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. And we'll be doing Zoom live again. And if you get an opportunity, you could watch A New Husband for Christmas on Prime Video. It's actually, if you are a Prime member, you can watch it on there. If not, you can rent it. I think it was like $3.99 to rent or whatnot. So yeah, so that's what's going on next week. And then just a heads up, we are actually going to take a break towards the end of the month for to do some regrouping, coming together. And then 2021, I'm just letting you guys know we're going to come out the gate real strong. Just going to put it out there. We're going to be definitely on the audio format, so you guys can check us out on there. And it's been great tonight, don't you think, Sean?
Oh, I think it's been fantastically phenomenal. I had a really great time.
Okay.
And with my surface dwelling and then you going a little bit underneath the hood. So I enjoyed it. I think we pieced it all together. Totally
Okay.
enjoyed it.
So one thing I guess we got to remember for each show, because we have people that come on that's never been on. Somebody put in the comments there, your wife, she's like, "What's the GTS score?" So just so we're clear, GTS stands for Got to See It, and we usually do a ratio of 1 to 10. Okay, so that's what that is, and we try to do it every episode to give you guys an idea, But hopefully, from listening to us on our commentary, you'll want to see it anyway. But
Mhm.
whatever we're talking about. But once again, thank everybody for joining us on tonight. and we will see you next week.
See ya.